Robina Khan.
Thank you. First of all, I'm a working mum. I've lived in this borough for 23 years now. And my past has been about regeneration and housing and doing things together. I worked on the island when Derek Beacon was elected. I worked as the racial harassment coordinator at the time. I worked with communities coming together to be able to challenge prejudice and stereotype as well. However, my philosophy in trying to make sure communities come together is that I believe that we should allow local people to tell us how our policies shape. And an example of that is the fact that I championed the Save Me campaign, which means that cyclists and pedestrians can have safer crossings, safer places that we can address, and accident hotspots as well. Another example is my commitment to Save Our Surgeries, again led by local people, ensuring that we can work with local people because they are the people who can give us the ideas. And often, and this is a philosophy that I follow, it's that local people and people whose lives are affected by different things, they have the ideas to tell politicians how they want to move forward. And I'll give you another example. The bedroom tax, when that came in, so many people came to my surgery worried about the bedroom tax. They asked me what I was going to do. I worked to ensure that we put £2.2 million aside to ensure that we could address homelessness, the increase of homelessness, and also address bedroom tax. So I believe that local people, people who live in the borough, they can help shape policies.
Robina Khan, you're running as an independent. You say that you want the role of mayor to be more accessible and more accountable. It's interesting, isn't it? Does that mean that you think Lutfi was not?
I'm running on my own record. I have always made sure that I answer questions in full council. In fact, I was probably one of the only councillors in the cabinet, and also in fact the council chambers, that I addressed more council petitions, more public questions, and from elected members in addressing the accountability of how we delivered services in the borough. What I want to do is move on, be able to engage with people, and the reason why I say I'm accessible is because I have run a number of surgeries in the borough. Over the last 5 years, I have raised 3,500 pieces of casework. An enormous number of people have come to see me. And why? Because they want to raise their concerns with me to be able to address the needs that they have.
Okay. Robina, before we go to our headlines, let me give you an opportunity to get in on this. Healthcare has got to be a big issue, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the question, because what I understand from local people, I've been part of the Save Our Surgeries campaign, and one of the things is we can build the surgeries, but actually we need the funding from the government for GPs and nurses to be able to carry out their work. I know I've been in the London hospital, and the saddest thing that I've found is that there are a lot of nurses who say to me that one of their biggest problems is that we have empty beds, not because there isn't the facilities, it's because NHS workers, staff and the health carers, they are paid on low wages, and that's unfair. And when we talk about education and raising awareness, one of the most important things that we have to remember is that we can ask families to go and buy good food and go and buy fruit. But many of our families, they suffer from poverty. We have families who are using the food banks. We've got welfare reform that's coming into place as well. I'm worried about mental health. Mental health is on the increase. And the reason why it's on the increase, and I say this because so many of the people who come to see me, I can see the welfare reforms that have taken place in this country, how emotional it is for families, the impact on their life, the impact on their children. And lastly, may I just add, one of the most important things that I feel very strongly about is special education needs in this borough, and nationally as well, because children aged between 16 and 25, they need a national support system. They need to be able to be provided with the facility.
Robina, let me ask you a question. See, in my notes it says that Tower Hamlets First and that council was able to access more funds for housing than any other borough in the country, and they did better at providing things that allowed them to access money. Why has all that been lost? Why is everything about Tower Hamlets First been negative, in your opinion?
First of all, I'd like to say that actually I've seen some very good publicity in terms like the Sunday Times awarded the Ocean Estate as the best regenerated council estate. I've seen the way the Ocean Estate has gone from what I remember 10 years ago to what it is now. Secondly, I've seen other articles where it refers to the borough, like, for example, in the Independent one, they refer to the education, how we've improved as well. But in terms of answering the question about just about gentrification, if I may, the important aspect in this borough, and not just in this borough, but nationally as well, we do have a housing crisis. However, there are different ways of approaching this. We cannot have a blanket approach. And I say that because of the experiences that I've had in the last 5 years. And one example is making sure that we have affordable homes in this borough, but nationally as well. We do have a housing crisis. However, there are different ways of approaching this. We cannot have a blanket approach. And I say that because of the experiences that I've had in the last 5 years. And one example is making sure that we have affordable homes.
Affordable homes, I get that.
My name's Tariq Khan, Tower Hamlets resident. I just want to ask, will Rabina Khan's association with the previous mayor, Lutfur Rahman, damage her chances of winning?
Rabina, I mean, this kind of, to you specifically, is it a good or a bad thing that you are associated with the previous administration, which was mired in controversy and an utter and complete disgrace so far as the law is concerned?
I think the only way I can explain that is in the last 4 weeks we've been door knocking, we've been meeting people and making sure that the residents tell me, the people that I've knocked on the door, have told me that they actually would like to judge me on my record of the way I've dealt with people, the way I've engaged with people. And in fact, it was interesting, I knocked on this door and I just didn't expect this very unique individual to open the door and say to me, "Don't you remember me? You helped me to oppose the bedroom tax." I've never met her. She emailed me and I helped her through that email. And it was interesting because when I walked across the estate yesterday in Weavers, I approached a young group of people. And it was the fact that I'd approached them and talked to them, and they asked me, "What will you do for young people?" And I spoke to them, told them the things that I want to do is make sure that we have a Mayor's Employment Board, that we can facilitate more and more internships and graduate internships, because my concerns are of young people in this borough who graduate and then find it difficult to find a job.
Rabina, you're last up. Let's go.
Thank you. I'd like to be a mayor for all, that we engage with all communities and make sure that our families, our communities, our young people are at the heart of our policies so that we can make a better town.
We've run out of time and I do apologise for being so rude. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to the candidates. I wish all of you the very best of luck. We'll be back here.